Hello everybody and welcome to One Hub Racing season number 12. This is the Pinnacle tier and round number 13 takes us to the Belgian Grand Prix at the fantastic Spa-Francorchamps circuit. My name is Kieran McGinley and joining me in the booth is two-time champ John Worth. Jono, how are you this evening?
Really good, thanks Kieran. Glad to have you back and glad to be at Spa. I think everyone would agree it's one of the great F1 circuits.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jono, for those who weren't here last week, including myself, give us a rundown of what exactly went down last week.
Yeah, we had a pretty exciting Hungarian Grand Prix last week. Once again, though, Pinnacle managed to come out on top with a pretty comfortable victory in the end over his now championship rival, Samster, in the Ferrari. And Reflo on his return in the Mercedes as well. He got P3. So not ideal for his championship hopes. He finds himself down in third place in the championship now. The second Ferrari of Matt was fourth and White Falcon was fifth, and we had some epic midfield battles. As you can imagine, we always do, involving TK, Maid Showman, Lukey and others as well. So it was a good Hungarian Grand Prix last time out.
And, it took me a couple of tries to get this live stream going, John. Let's hope it stays stable for the rest of it. And there's a certain cup we won't mention tonight. John and I have agreed that there's a certain event going on right now that we're not going to talk about at all.
Not happening. It doesn't exist.
No, fake news. What are you talking about? We're riding on board with Reflo then, as we wind up and get ready to go on board with with Reflo for a lap of Spa-Francorchamps then. So as we head with him, 7th gear all the way towards the Source hairpin, heavy braking zone, good opportunity for overtaking as we then head downhill. Watch the wheel spin on the exit of turn 1. You risk lighting up those rear tyres. And here we go then, Eau Rouge and Radia. Watch out for this on the very first lap. You see there on those soft tyres that Reflo is just taking it flat out. And then we head down the Kemmel Straight, DRS wide open. You can see Reflo there just taking a little bit of slipstream as he makes his way down towards Les Combes. And this is it then, the 100 metre board just after is Reflo's braking point. 5, then through 6, and then through turn 7. You want to take this as smooth as you possibly can. Watch the exit there, very easy to overcook it and go onto the gravel there as we head down towards turn 8 and the Brussels corner. As we go around this right-hander, patience is key going around that right-hander. Then through turn 9, the one with no name. Watch the exit then, very easy to get it close to the wall. And then coming through turn 10, through Pouan, as you can see there, most of the drivers will lift going through the race. Even with this much downforce on the car, you still have to lift then as we head now towards turn 12 and then through turn 13. Sweeping corners that again reward that patience as we head towards turn 14. Now be careful on the exit here as you head towards turn 15. You've got to be brave and have the aero clip that curve on the inside. That takes you away from the tyre walls on the left hand side, and it's full throttle now all the way to the chicane as we're going to head through this next flying sections. This left-hander, especially as we head towards the old bus stop chicane through Blanchemont and then towards the old bus stop chicane. Braking nice and early is Reflo, and this time attacking the apex as we head towards the DRS zone. Steering all as straight as you possibly can, and Reflo goes P3 with a 143.4. Pinnacle then, I believe that's on a set of super softs, and it is a 141.5. Currently leads the way. Marley there on super softs, 142.0, TK 144.1, Jaw 144.3, Maid Showman 145.3 on the medium tyres, White Fountain setting a banker lap of 155.1, Pepsi Gamer putting it up to P6 on those medium tyres. And Jono, this is a track I believe you've never won at, just to throw that out there.
I haven't. I did look at the stats earlier this week and realised actually that I'd never won here. I just could never quite get it together. It's such a long, demanding, tricky lap, and it just never seemed to suit me particularly well. Although I did enjoy driving it, but then who doesn't enjoy driving Spa? And it was great to be on board with Reflo there. Just to see an F1 car going absolutely flat out around this place is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. CSS then on some soft tyres. The tyres available this race and today are the super softs, the softs and the mediums. And of course, Jono, you were saying right before the stream started, we need to take into account of the weather. The weather does play a huge role in these Ardennes forests, and it could be raining on one part of the circuit and completely dry on another, as we see CSS there taking to the gravel. That's what happens when you're just a little bit too greedy with those curves. You can see yourself running very, very wide.
Yeah, you got that a bit wrong, didn't he? But it worked out well for Sam, who was just behind him on track. So he's in the final sector now, and CSS managed to get himself out the way of the Ferrari. So Donko on that provisional pole at the moment, but can Sam, his championship rival and current championship leader, can he do something about that?
Absolutely. Here comes Sam then. It's a 141.8. And that puts him into P2. 17 drivers for tonight then, Jono. And good turnout, especially for Spa. I think the fact that it is Spa helped people to say, you know what, yeah, I'm here tonight. Put it in my calendar, I'll definitely be here. It's such a classic track.
Yeah, it's one of the ones we want to be there for, isn't it? It really is. I mean, you know, sometimes when we get to Monaco, the numbers seem to drop for that week for some magic reason. But when you get to a track like Spa, everyone wants to be there. Absolutely.
Lukey making his way through Brussels now towards No Name as we then head towards Pouhon. Interesting there, taking a lot of the curb and just trying to use as much of the track as possible as he heads now down to Pouhon, clipping that grass on the right hand side, and that sends him a little bit wide. Very easy there to invalidate your lap time as we now head towards the sweeping sections of I believe this is 13 or Campus as it's called, as we head towards Stavlo now. And Jono, when I used to league race, obviously Stavlo, this right-hander coming up here as we ride on board with Lukey, very easy to understeer into those tyre walls there. Just how tempting is it to try and carry as much speed through there as possible?
Well, yeah, it's crucial to carry as much speed as you can, but it is very, very easy to get wrong. And yeah, obviously danger is absolutely waiting there if you get it completely wrong. So you've got to attack it, but yeah, it's just another. Well, there's so many difficult sections on this circuit, but that is certainly one of them.
Absolutely. Here comes Lukey towards the line. He sets a 144.3. That puts him up into third place. Interestingly then, Jono, we've got lots of drivers on the super soft tyres. In fact, the only one who hasn't set his best lap time on the super soft tyre and is in the top 10 is Reflow, currently P6 on a 143.4. Now, considering the nature of the Belgian Grand Prix and this track, surely some of the drivers must be thinking, well, we've got to go for the soft tyres, surely. You've got to make that soft to medium stint work, and if there's no safety car, then the guys on the super softs will be struggling at the start of the race.
Yeah, they will. We'll see what they decide to do. We've seen guys playing around with tyres a bit before in qualifying, but as you say, that soft medium is usually the way to go. Usually the super soft isn't particularly durable, particularly at the start of the race when you've got the heavy fuel loads.
Yeah, absolutely. Peter in the chat then saying I loaded the wrong setup, so he's currently running 2 wings. That's that's going to be a bit of a problem, but at least he's going to be fast down the Kemmel Straight. Yeah, he certainly will be fast down the Kemmel Straight, but yeah, he might be struggling with a little bit with the rear of the car being a little bit light over the top of Eau Rouge, so he might want to just be a little bit careful on the throttle over there the first time round. Absolutely. So Reflow then is on a flying lap. He's now come back out on a set of super soft tyres. And of course, Jono, we're talking 7 kilometres of track here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Such a fantastic track. I know we keep saying what a fantastic track it is, but going through Eau Rouge and then up Radion, look at that there. You don't actually understand how steep Radion actually is until you're there in person. And for all of those who say it's flat out, well, as we get towards the end of the race, you'll soon find out it's not. As those rear tyres start to wear away, you'll actually get less and less grip. It's much, much easier for those cars to step out going through Radion. And on the first lap as well, if you don't warm up the tyres properly, you can find yourself spinning around. And we saw it in the podium tier not so long ago there, Jono. Yeah, we did indeed, and I know, speaking to some of the drivers during the week, they are all well aware of the dangers around this circuit, particularly on this game, and as you mentioned, on the opening lap with cold tyres or with warm tyres as well at the end of stints. Very, very easy to get it wrong. We've seen in other races, as mentioned in the podium race, that see quite a few DNFs, so I think it is a race of endurance, this one. And I wonder if I just saw a little bit of rain there, and I did, well. Yes, it is starting to rain here in Belgium, so that's probably why many of the drivers went onto the super soft tyres. I wonder if there's going to be a wet start to this race, Jono, and that's why so many people are actually on those super soft tyres. Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? You would expect us to have a wet start for the guys to all be out on the softest compounder tyre. As you mentioned before, it's not what we usually see. I mentioned as well, Lawrence retired at the start of the session because he's got a qualifying ban that he's serving from a couple of races ago.
So that's why we won't see a Force India driver on track in this session.
So Reflow there, 142.6 and retires from the session. His teammate Farth, 143.1. As the trials and tribulations of Farth seem to go on, Jono, has he actually out-qualified his teammate this season?
I don't believe he has. Not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't managed to out-qualify Reflow this season.
Oh, Scorpion getting it wrong at no name, and he's onto the grass, somehow keeping it out of the wall there. So, well, at least he kept it out of the wall. He's able to carry on, but that's a good a sign as any, as the track is starting to get damp. It's starting to get wet, and, well, Scorpion can count himself very, very lucky there.
Yeah, and with so many high-speed, full commitment corners as well, as soon as you get a little bit of wet on this circuit and a bit of grip loss, you are struggling. You just won't get the lap time, and yeah, it looks like I think we might have another session similar to a few races ago, where we may not see any improvements in the last quarter of the session.
I thought I lifted the curse at Germany, but obviously I've reinforced it. But yep, the rain is starting to come down. It's heavier, much heavier than it was before. But whilst we're on the topic of Scorpion, Odems was asking all the drivers, would you rather have an oversteery setup there's a fairly high chance of spinning out if you're not careful, or a super stable setup that's 5/10 slower? Scorpion said, I like a stable but fast setup, but I'd rather take the oversteery setup. As you can see there, not a lot of grip on those tyres anymore. He said, I'd rather take the oversteery setup if there's no other option. I want to ask the same question to you, Jono. Unstable setup but quicker, or stable setup but off the pace?
You can't be off the pace and win the race, I guess, is the thing. You've got to try and deal with it as unstable as you can cope with. But when I raced, I always used to actually lean slightly more towards a race car than a qualifying car. I'd always sacrifice qualifying. I didn't have many pole positions. Because I always prefer to have a stable, reliable race car, even if it's a tenth or two slower. But if you're sacrificing half a second, that's too much. But I'd sacrifice maybe a tenth or two of race pace to have a slightly more stable car.
Yeah, I think TK's agreeing with you there, because he said to the same question, faster is always better, but I like to have some stability in the car, otherwise I don't race that well. When Odems also asked TK, has there been a moment in a league race or online that has made you burst out in laughter? And TK said, when Mage broke my front wing in Spain, although I let him through, laughter and crying all rolled into one.
Yeah, we won't say any more about that. There was a little bit of to and fro in between those two, shall we say, in the chat this week. There was a bit of a rivalry developing, I think, and we saw that obviously last time at Hungary. So they definitely both want to beat each other here.
Yeah, absolutely, as TK's actually run out of fuel, so trying to limp his way back to the pits. And CSS is being brave on a flying lap on slick tyres on a track that's definitely ready for the intermediate tyres. You can see CSS there. He's going to lose it into the gravel. No, kept it on the track and spins up those rear tyres, and away he goes again. But that surely is a sign, and he's round again. Oh, this is not what you want on the stream, is it? This is terrible. Interestingly though,
for the crowd.
Well, actually, CSS there has set his best lap time on a set of soft tyres. If we have a dry race, then he'll have to start on the soft tyres, and actually he might get a little bit of an advantage there.
I think he would if that happened. I don't know, but I'm assuming we're going to see a wet race, purely by the fact we've already got 4 or 5 drivers out on the intermediate tyres. Last time out, when we had this sort of situation, nobody went out really on the inters, so we're seeing a few drivers go out, and I presume that's to get their eye in a little bit before the race.
Absolutely, Mage Showman is one of them, but he's tagged the wall there at no name on the exit. And just trying to carry a little bit too much speed. And going through Puon here. Puon becomes a much more difficult corner. Oh, Mage Showman, the back end wanted to step out there, that's for sure. That's clearly a dry setup on a car that's just got intermediates on it. So struggling there is Mage Showman, and Cloudy Balloons has been given a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking.
Yeah, and he's lost it into the wall as well, and he's reset onto track. Oh, and he's lost it again as well, so Cloudy's woes here are continuing.
Absolutely, so he'll at worst be down to P16 at the moment. In fact, that might be where he stays. Praga is out on circuit, he's on a set of intermediate tyres. He will probably be the only person to set his fastest lap time on the intermediate tyres, so keep an eye on him then as he makes his way through Les Combes and going down towards Brussels now. down the hill. A lot slower this track is. You're sort of looking at the 150s now, maybe a 155 even. But Praga then had a good showing last time out, I believe, Jono.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He got third on his debut. I think he missed last week, so back here this week, and obviously, well, he's going to be starting it down the field, having not set a lap time yet, and out on the Inters, so we'll see what he can do. It's looked like a pretty decent lap, actually, bearing in mind the tyres he's on. We have got confirmation in the chat as well from Peter, by the look of it, that the race is going to be wet, or at least part of it is, so we are going to see a bit of rain at this time out in the race.
So that is why so many people are actually sticking on a pair of intermediate tyres and getting out there. Praga, he's one of them, of course. He will set his fastest lap time on these tyres, and luckily for him, what's the ruling on setting your fast lap in the Inters? I can't remember. Do you have to start on those Inters if it's a wet race? I can't remember. I don't think so.
I'm not too sure on that one either. I think you still get a fresh set for the race. I'm pretty sure, but not 100%.
Well, here he comes in around the final corner, and this looks like it's going to be his flying lap now. So he's done all the warming up then as he makes his way down towards League for the first time. A lot more careful here, a lot less attacking into La Source hairpin then as he heads down the hill, just desperately trying to keep control of the car. Very, very close to the wall on the right hand side there as we head through Eau Rouge and up Radion here. You can see the back end just wanted to step out there on Praga. Dry setups with intermediate tyres. This is going to be a nightmare for Praga, but he managed to hold on to it as we head now down towards Les Combes. This is turn 5, 6 and 7. It's difficult finding a map for the Belgian Grand Prix because they all have different numbered corners, but I'm going by the official one as we head down towards Brussels in turn 8 here. Very easy to lock the brakes up in the dry, let alone the wet here. As we head through turn 8 now, rewarding the patience on the throttle, and that's what happens when you're just a little bit impatient there, especially in these tricky conditions. Going through No Name and coming down the hill towards Pouhon now, and we normally drop a gear going through here in the dry. We might drop another one. Nope. Praga is adamant in staying in 6th there as we head towards turn 12 and 13. As we head towards now through turn 12, again, have to be so patient on the throttle as we head through Campus now and towards Stavelot. And let's see how he takes this then. Taking that curb, brave to take the curbs, especially in these tricky conditions. As you can see, he has to lift off. Oh, almost off the track there. Very close for Praga, but he's giving it his all. Fair play to him as he makes his way around the final couple of corners. Here we go through Blanchimont. You can see there's a lift there on that telemetry in the bottom right hand side of your screen as he makes his way towards the old bus stop chicane. And through turn 18 now, through turn 19. And what is the lap time going to be from Praga as he makes his way towards the line, losing that back end there as he makes his way, and I believe that was a 155, and it puts him P16. At least it's one position better than he was going to get.
Yeah, and if nothing else, he's pushed the limits there, hasn't he? And he's got a bit of set in his mind now what the grip levels are like if we do start the race on the Inters.
So let's have a look at those qualifying results. So Donkel is on pole position, Samster is in 2nd, Marley in 3rd, Matt in 4th, Reflow 5th, Farth in 6th, Scorpion in 7th, White Fountain in 8th, Jaw in 9th, CSS in 10th. On those soft tyres, if it's a dry start, he might have an advantage. Cloudy Balloons qualified in 11th but has a 5-place grid penalty. TK 12th, Lukey in 13th, Pepsi Gamer 14th, Mage Showman 15th, Praga the only one setting his fastest lap time on those intermediate tyres, and Lawrence, as you said earlier, Jono, had that qualifying ban, so will start in P17. Wet or dry? Fingers crossed for all the drivers that it's dry. And I sort of hope for a dry start at least. Let's get some pace on the board to begin with, Jono.
I think it'll be a scary, as we've got wet conditions there in the pit lane.
Wet.
I think it could be a pretty scary opening lap for these drivers, to be honest. I think even in the dry, very, very tricky to get everyone around that first lap. I think it'll be more so in these conditions.
I'll tell you what, I'm just having a look at the Mercedes garage and Farth's garage there. They've got mediums. These dry tyres. Are we going to have a dry tyre start in these conditions?
Oh.
That is going to make Eau Rouge and Radion very tricky. We saw in the podium tier how tricky it was in the dry, let alone in the terrible wet conditions that look like it's only going to get worse, Jono.
Yeah, it does happen, doesn't it? I've seen that before where, we have to start the race on the dries, even though we've got rain coming down, and it just fills you with dread sat in the cockpit there, seeing the rain coming down and seeing the dry tyres on the car. Not nice at all.
And as this tension rises, this is not what the drivers needed at the longest track on the calendar. Of course, it's 7.004 kilometres long, 22 laps around the Belgian Grand Prix. We first started back in 1950 as the drivers pull away now. And let's have a look if they are on those slick tyres. I think they are. Yes, they are. As CSS there obviously will be starting on a set of soft tyres. So obviously, as the rules state, the top 10 have to start on the tyre they qualified on. Now, I would say in a dry start, but it's not exactly dry, but the FIA have decided that it is a dry start, so the teams will be risking it on these soft and super soft tyres. I don't think it'll be too long before we see those intermediates come out. So, Jono, who does this favour in these conditions? Do you prefer to be on the super softs or the soft tyres in these conditions?
Well, you'd always think if the rain is falling, the super soft should get at the temperature more easily and should give you more grip. But it's very difficult to know. I know that if this was my formation lap, I'd actually be trying to push quite hard and actually feel how much grip there is, because the drivers really won't know where the grip levels are at all. So I treat this as more of a sort of flying lap than I usually would on a formation lap, and I push on and try and find the grip levels.
Well, if Donkor wanted an easy race to try and close the gap at the top even more, he's not going to get it. And that always seems to be the way for Donkor. Whenever he's on pole position, there's always some external factor that prevents it from being, just a drive home and making sure he just gets home safe. There's just something about fate and not wanting to have just an easy ride to the finish.
Yeah, and I think pole position isn't that powerful here as well. But that Camel straight slipstream on the opening lap is so powerful. If Sam can stay near him through Eau Rouge and onto Camel straight, then I think he'll have a good chance of making a pass. Might be more difficult in these conditions with reduced traction, but I think that will be his aim. And of course we've got Mali there in P3 in the Renault as well, who's got himself in amongst the championship contenders there.
Absolutely. One of the drivers Odems was watching out for this week was TK, and the other one was Cloudy Balloons. So those are the two drivers that Odems thinks we should be watching for the race then. Donkor will be leading the pack all the way to the grid then, and I wonder what that turn one's going to be like, and more importantly, how the drivers are going to handle Eau Rouge and Radion. If anyone takes it flat through there, they're going to receive a personal slap from me. That's what I'm saying right now. As Peter's in the chat saying, there's no grip. There's absolutely no grip. But of course, the drivers are having to start on these tyres. If they don't start on these tyres and they try and start on the intermediates, those intermediates are just going to overheat because there's no real standing water yet. As we grid up now, waiting now for the last couple of drivers to get to the grid. This is One Hub Racing, the Pinnacle tier, round number 13 at the Belgian Grand Prix. One of the drivers' favourites, one of my favourites too, as we wait now for those 5 red lights any moment now. Here we go then for the Belgian Grand Prix. 5 red lights. Round 13 is underway, and what are the starts like? No surprise, a lot of wheel spin from everybody as we head down to La Source hairpin for the first time. And that's a Renault trying to go up the inside. That's Marley up the inside of Donkor, and he's lost control of the car. Kept it out of the wall, only just though, as we make our way down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. The two red Mercedes and Ferrari are trying to go side by side as we make our way up the hill. And there's contact. There's contact between the Mercedes and the Ferrari. Then they're all facing the right way, at least, as we head down the Kemmel Straight now, but we're trying to go too wide down the Kemmel Straight here. There was a bit of damage to one of those cars. It was either a Mercedes or a Ferrari as we head down to Les Combes here, and you can see a melee of cars. That's a Mercedes there going wide. That's actually, I think that's Firth, is it? As we saw Pepsi Gamer as well taken to the track. We've got yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2, as we'll see what happened there. But you've got a Toro Rosso trying to go up the inside here. There's so little grip out here right now. Scorpion and Pepsi Gamer going around Brussels there, mounting the curb there, CSS, as we're now trying to make our way through No Name here, as well, it's a manic start right here, but everyone's facing the right way for now. We've had Praga leave the session as we head down towards Puon here. and Scorpion running off the track. There's just so little grip in these conditions, and it's easy to see why some of the drivers just want to come in now, but if they pit now, they're going to pit too early. That's Lukey trying to go around the outside of Scorpion there, which will then become the inside line, but he has to back out of it. Again, there's so little grip out here as we head towards Stavlo and towards the final couple of corners on what seems like the longest lap of these drivers' lives, though. Doncool is leading from Reflow there as we got Farth. There's that Scorpion. Scorpion's got into trouble then, has he? Oh, he's gone down a couple of positions, but there were yellow flags out, and that's actually Marley who's around. He's into the wall there. So Marley having a little bit of trouble. He's actually retired from the session then. And as we head around the final couple of corners, Doncool leads from Reflow, Farth, White Fountain, Matt, Samster, Pepsi Gamer, CSS, Lukey, Lawrence, Cloudy Balloons, Scorpion, Jaw. It's Manic. I'm not even going to try. Cloudy is around there. I saw Scorpion go into the pits as well as Cloudy, spinning up those tyres there, and that was well avoided from Made Showman then as we head down towards La Source Hairpin with Doncool making his way up the hill. I can't let you speak, Jono. That's how hectic this start has been.
Oh my god, what an opening lap, and I think actually surprisingly clean from most drivers. So close there, and everyone's scrapping for grip. Reflow obviously made that move into before Rouge, didn't he, on Sam, and then Sam just tapped into the back of him.
Oh, that's White Fountain around. Oh, and that's a massive collision there. Lots of cars around in Lake Com there, and that was a bit of contact between White Fountain and Matt FNG. That sent White Fountain around. He reversed backwards onto the track. And of course there's no ghosting in this game as he reversed back around. Not sure who he collected though. Haven't seen who it is. It might have been Pepsi Gamer, and it is Pepsi Gamer got caught up in that. So he's lost his entire front wing as he'll now have to limp back to the pits. But this might be a blessing in disguise. This might allow Pepsi Gamer to just throw on a set of intermediate tyres and say, well, here we go. We might as well go for it. So this might actually be the blessing in disguise that Pepsi Gamer needs as we head towards lap 3, and we'll find out shortly from the stewards whether there's going to be DRS enabled. Reflow and Doncool seem to be masters in these conditions because they've got away from Farth. Now I think Farth actually has front wing damage. That might have been the car that lost a bit of debris, and you can see there on the right hand side of his front wing he's struggling out there, but he's helping Reflow because Matt and Samster just can't find a way past. Championship leader currently in 5th place.
Yeah, we got Mercedes P2, P3, so it was a great start by Farth. As I say, he's picked up that wing damage though.
Oh, bit of contact there.
The back of him.
Yeah, he runs wide there, lets his teammate through there as Reflow sets the fastest up of the race. It's a 1:59.7. And DRS has been enabled, but I wonder for how much longer, because we're getting to that crossover point here. We saw from, I think it was Praga there, who set a 1:56 or 1:55 in qualifying trim. So we're not far away from those intermediate tyres. We're riding with Samster as we head through Eau Rouge and then up Radion. You can see how much they have to lift off going through there now. It's not full throttle through there at all as Pepsi Gamer comes into the pits. DRS is enabled and Samster's making full use of it. Look at this then. Farth is not going to give Samster enough room here as we head down towards Lake Com. Well held from Samster. Farth did all he could to try and prevent Samster from trying to make the move. No dice though, and Samster makes the move. He's up to P3.
Yeah, back into P3 and recovering. As I said before, he was lucky to still be in the race. It could have easily gone horribly wrong for him, but he caught the slide, dropped a few positions, but now back into P3 and charging, you know, for Doncool now. And as a Reflow though, 8/10 clear in the lead at the moment.
Absolutely, we've had 2 retirements from the session. Praga left the session, he's running around as an AI car, and also Marley, who retired from the menu after he lost it around Stavlo. We're riding with Reflow then, as he has made a move on Doncool, I believe. Did that happen on the stream? Yeah, right at the very start. So Doncool here and Reflow just managing to get away from Farth then, who was holding up the 2 Ferraris. And Matt there making that contact between him and Farth allowed Samster to go through. So I think Farth's main job there of trying to provide the rear gunner hasn't really worked. But Lukey here, watch out for Lukey on those soft tyres. Seems to be on a bit of a charge here as he backs well out of the move going through Blanchimont, and understandably so. Here he comes then towards the bus stop chicane. Decides to stay out of it for now as Reflow sets another fastest lap. So 1:57.7. And I wonder, is the rain starting to fade away, Jono?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It actually looks quite light, doesn't it? And you know, if the rain stays consistent like this, or even lessens, then those on the soft tyres could actually be sitting pretty towards the end of the stint, as these super softs, they're not the most durable tyre in the world, and perhaps those front few may regret not going for the soft tyre.
Well, they just saw rain on the forecast then. Of course, it doesn't really tell you how much rain it is or how wet the track's going to be. So it's all just a complete guessing game. We're going to jump on board with Lukey then as we head down towards Lecom. He's up the inside of Matt FNG. And is there going to be enough room? Yes, there is. Lukey gets into P5. It was a brave move from Lukey, especially in these conditions. And it has stopped raining. The rain has stopped falling. So the track will dry now, and it looks like it's drying pretty quickly as well. Lukey is one of the first of the soft runners. In fact, he is the first of the soft runners. He might reap these full benefits of running those tyres from the very start.
Yes, could work out very well for him, couldn't it? And we know Farth has got wing damage as well, so expect Lukey to find his way past Mercedes. He's also defending still for Matt as well. He's not done with his position at all. It's been a great opening part of the race from Lukey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on his rear wing then as we head towards Stavlo once again. And Lukey here might have a chance through Blanchimont as the track is drying. Of course, it's a guessing game at the moment. When do you push? When is it the right time to make the move? When is it the right time to go full throttle through Blanchimont? It's a real test of nerve for the drivers then. As you can see, Lukey's not willing to have a go just yet. He does still lift off. All those drivers do, in fact, going through Blanchimont, and you can see a battle behind here between CSS and Matt FNG. There's two battles going on at once here, and Father somehow held on out of Lukey there, out of the last corner, but you can see Matt's in trouble here. He's under real pressure from CSS, as now he's trying to make a move on Lukey as they head towards La Source, and it's three wide. Lukey gets a little bit of a tap there, but he gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting that La Source curb there, heading down the hill towards Eau Rouge and then up through Radion here. As you can see there, Matt FNG makes a mistake, has to run a little bit wide. That could be a perfect opportunity for CSS, and he's taken it. Going down the Kemmel Straight now. Farth has to hold off from Lukey here as we head towards Lecom. And there's so many moves happening here. Or is that a little bit of a tap from Farth? No, it wasn't. Lukey then gets up to P4. And you can see with Pepsi Gamer setting that fastest up of the race, 151.2 there. So the track is getting faster and faster by the second.
Yeah, and we've got a fascinating battle here between these guys, all the way down to Lawrence in 8th at the moment, who's moved up 9 positions, by the way, had that qualifying ban. Lawrence up into 8th position, and another driver on the soft tyre, and Matt FNG now coming under pressure from him as well. So are his super soft tyres, are they already starting to struggle? We saw it in Hungary last week. He seemed to fall down the field in the race, and he's doing so again here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's CSS made that mistake then, and now CSS and Lawrence are going side by side through campus, and then coming around turn 14 here as we make our way towards Stavlo. And CSS's mistake there has cost him a position against Lawrence. He ran so close to that tyre wall there. And Farth then, with that front wing damage, he's doing pretty well at the moment. And Matt seems to be under a lot of pressure here as we see Donkel trying to chase down Reflow here. He sets the fastest lap of the race, 148.2, and TK's out of the race. What's happened to TK? We're running on board with Scorpion then to see what happened. He's coming around the final couple of corners. Well, are we going to see TK? Are we going to see those yellow flags out? Well, he is 20 seconds behind. I don't think we're going to see what happened to him. There's yellow flags coming through Blanchimont, and there he is on the right-hand side. That's a really odd place to lose it. Yeah, well,
not quite sure what happened there, how he ended up there, but his race is over either way.
Absolutely. So Reflow still leading the way on lap number 6 with Donkel in 2nd, Samster 3rd, Lukey 4th, Farth in 5th, Matt FNG is in 6th, Lawrence in 7th, CSS 8th, White Fountain 9th, Jaw in 10th, Gladiator Balloons 11th, Maze Sherman 12th, Scorpion 13th, Pepsi Gamer 14th, and our retirement so far, TK, who crashed out of the race, Praga, who is lapping as an AI car, so will not be classified, and Marley retired on the first lap, I believe it was, when he lost it at Stavlo. What a race we've got on our hands here, because Farth once again is under pressure and the rain's falling again. Jono, it started raining again.
Yeah, this is fascinating, isn't it? We've got a real mix of tyre strategy as well, which we wouldn't expect to see in a normal dry race. So we've got that to contend with, and as you mentioned, the rain is falling again. So will it come to the rescue of the super soft runners? That's what we'll have to see next.
Well, I was expecting around about lap 5, lap 6 for the super soft window to be open, and then lap 8 to lap 10 for the soft tyre window. I mean, if it starts raining, the sooner the better for the super soft runners, because they'll want to bin those tyres and get rid of them. Lawrence, meanwhile, is on much better tyres. 5-lap-old soft tyres is much better than 5-lap-old super softs, that's for sure. And Farth then, with that broken front wing, you can see him, he is struggling a little bit. Donkel into the pits then. And Matt FNG is trying to go around the outside, which will then become the inside at the old bus stop chicane here. And he's made the move on Farth. Brilliant racecraft from the Ferrari then, as Farth loses another position. He's now under pressure from the Force India of Lawrence. Lawrence here trying to go up the inside as we head towards the Source hairpin. They're trying to go 3 wide through, and how on earth did they all come out facing the right way?
Wow, yeah, this is really close racing, and they're going to be slipstreaming each other now down the Kemmel Straight as well. So as Lawrence loses the rear of the car there, he's going to fall away from these two now, but Matt FNG is going to come back against Farth if he can. He's got DRS open, he looks to the left, looks to the right, there's just about room left on the right, so Matt FNG through past Farth, and Matt FNG, we thought he was falling down the field a lap or two ago. He now finds himself back up in 4th with Donkel pitting.
Yeah, Donkel's actually pitted and come back out on a set of super soft tyres. He's hoping that it rains enough so that he only needs to use 1 compound of tyre. So here comes, that's Lawrence trying to go up the inside here of Brussels, now around the outside of No Name. And that was a very brave move. In fact, Farth had to back out of that one. He wasn't willing to go up the inside there, and I think rightly so. Lawrence made that decision for Farth very early on. Now he's up to 5th place here, and you can see Farth is struggling. He's on worn super soft tyres against Donkel, who's on fresh super soft. Here we go then. He's gone up the inside there, and there's not a lot Farth can do to defend that position, especially with that broken front wing. Donkel up to P6 then. Interesting strategy from Donkel then. He's seen the rain come, knew he probably wouldn't make it on the set of tyres he had, and is instead going for a set of new tyres as Cloudy Balloons is off there. On his soft tyres, that is on the exit of turn 13, just before Stavilo there. As we see here, Donkel is now right on the back of Lawrence. He's got so much more grip as he heads towards the old bus stop chicane. Oh, bit of contact there between Donkel and Lawrence. And let's see if there was any damage. I don't think there was, Jono. Matt FNG is into the pits, and Donkel will find himself up to P4.
Yeah, I have to say, it certainly looked from the onboard there that Lawrence was weaving around quite a bit. It was very difficult to know which way he was going to go into the braking zone. So it was lucky no damage was done. And yeah, Matt FNG in as well. So obviously they just cannot make the super soft last. So I think Donkel, he could have done the right thing here. This is where you can really make the difference with your strategy if you take a bit of a risk. Donkel was the first in, and he could reap the reward there, because I think all these super soft runners are going to have to pit before it is wet enough for winters.
CSS on intermediate tyres, he's gone for it. So that is a brave move then. He'll be the only person on those intermediate tyres. Let's keep an eye on him. Donkel has a 5-second stop go for corner cutting. As he's lost the back end, he's into the wall. Wow. Oh, Lawrence picking up a 3-second time penalty, but Donkel there, very lucky not to lose a wheel. And Jono, you were just praising about how well he was doing out there, and it's a virtual safety car as Farth finds himself out of the race. So Farth has lost it. There he is on the left-hand side, and he's lost it completely coming up the hill. So CSS is on intermediate tyres. Pepsi Gamer also on intermediate tyres. And you see that virtual safety car then. Will this be an invitation for those dry tyre runners to come in? Will it be an invitation for Donkel to try and replace that front wing? I don't think he'll have any super soft tyres left. So if he's going to have to pit then, either he's going to have to go for it, roll the dice and go on the intermediate tyres, or come out on a set of softs.
Yeah, everyone will be wondering what to do right now. It's obviously raining heavier and heavier, isn't it? But no spray really on the circuit just yet. But it looks like we're going to be on Inters
reflow in
pretty soon. We'll keep an eye on CSS as well and see how he does when we get back underway at full racing speed.
Reflow in, Samster in, and you can see then we've gone green. So Lukey here, what's he going to do? He's going to come into the pits as well as Donkel runs wide. You can see that front wing damage is costing him. He's now under pressure from Lawrence then as we head towards the old bus stop chicane. Now, are they both going to come in at the same time? They are! Racing into the pit lane then, and Lawrence jumps Donkel then into the pits. And Samster's gone onto a set of intermediate tyres. Reflow's gone into a set of mediums. So huge strategies there as Scorpions. Wow. That's a big off for Scorpion. and that is coming through turn 15. There's so many difficult conditions, and Reflow coming out on medium tyres. Samster, Lukey, they've rejoined on intermediates. Jono, what a race we've got here. No one can sort of decide what the tyre should be.
Yeah, complete mix of tyres. We've got several cars coming in for mediums, and some on soft as well, on inters as well, sorry. We'll keep an eye on the gap, I guess, between the front two, 2.7 seconds at the moment. And it looks like Sam is eating into that at the moment. So Reflow here, can he make those mediums work? I don't think he's going to be able to. Sam is eating into it.
Reflow's actually retired from the session.
He's retired.
He's retired. Do you know what I think happened? He might have been in the pit lane. Yeah, I think he didn't quite hit that button hard enough for the intermediate tyres. Instead came in on the mediums. So he's given up completely there. Well, I don't know. There's still more than half this race to go. And we've already had a virtual safety car. We've already had 3 retirements. I think Reflow's going to regret that decision.
Yeah, you have to say, obviously, he's just frustrated, but he will regret it, and you have to say he's probably just thrown away. We'll see what happens with Don Call and Sam, obviously, but he could have just thrown away his last championship hopes there and retiring.
Samster will then inherit the lead. That's going to put Lukey up to 2nd place there. Don't be surprised by those white wall medium tyres. He is actually on a set of intermediate tyres. Lawrence there will be in 3rd place as he makes his way towards the old bus stop chicane. How about this though? Made Showman up to 4th place. Of course, those decided on the soft tyres were able to manage their tyres a lot better, and they find themselves higher up the field than maybe they expected to be.
Yeah, and didn't things work out well for Lukey and all of that as well? Running that soft tyre, he's up 11 positions in P2, and Lawrence as well in P3. He's up 14 positions from the back of the grid on those intermediates.
Yeah, it's been an incredible race so far. Made Showman will be under pressure from Donkel, and of course Donkel would have pitted in. He would have replaced that front wing because of these wet conditions, and you can see him lift off there. It's almost losing the back end coming through Blanchimont as we now head towards the old bus stop chicane, the final 2 corners. Made Showman's going to be under a little bit of pressure here as he makes his way out of the final corner. Donkel will be on a charge here, but he knows these will be valuable points lost if he can't find a way to try and get to Samster, and he'll know that mistake that cost him his front wing will come back to bite him. As we'll have a look at gap to the leader then, 29.7. That's almost an entire pit stop behind Jono. Now, how do you pick yourself up after something like that?
Yeah, it's difficult. You've got to you can get upset about it afterwards, but right now you've just got to put your head down and get what you can out of this race. He's got Made Showman ahead of him, who you think he'd have more pace than, based on what we saw at the start of the race. And then he's got a fairly big gap to try and close to Lawrence. But we're only on lap 10 of 22. There's going to be more incidents, more mistakes, and we just don't know what the weather's going to do either, do we? It's Spa, so Donkel can still get a good result out of this.
It's rained, it dried up, and then it rained immediately as soon as the track dried up. So it definitely is a Belgian Grand Prix. You can definitely say that now.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of everything. You never know what you're going to get, as we said before, and that's exactly what it's delivered. Unpredictability is what it's delivered predictably, I guess. As Donkel, he's picked up a time penalty. These are going to come into play as well, especially in these conditions. The driver's just making errors, really, not gaining any advantage, but they're just running, just understeering and running wide, and they will pick up those time penalties.
Absolutely, and Donkel doesn't seem to be making much progress in trying to get past Made Showman. If you watched him on that lap going through Radion, he actually almost lost the back end, had to get off the throttle and regain control of the car. Lost a lot of time there to Made Showman. And whilst this is all going on, the top 3, Jono, are separated by 25 seconds. So it's pretty comfortable for them right now, but it hasn't been a very comfortable race for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Made Showman runs deep. He runs deep there. He'll take a compromised line, and Donkel doesn't need a second invitation on the exit of the final corner as we make our way down towards the source hairpin. Donkel cuts off the inside line. He'll look to try and take that position away, and you can see him try and take a sort of Gilles Villeneuve line, try and park it on the apex as you make your way out. And there you go then, Donkel up to P4, no second invitation needed. and that's more valuable points on Donkel's card right now. You look at him coming up the hill then, because Made Showman is right on his tail once again. Obviously, Made Showman is running a higher downforce setup because he's really taken Eau Rouge and Radion really well, and Donkel finds himself right behind the Williams again. He's going to try and move up the inside as he backs out of it, realised there wasn't enough room for the both of them to go through that corner, and Donkel has to do all that hard work all over again.
Yeah, and Donkel, he just looked tentative, didn't he, going over the top of Eau Rouge there. I just think perhaps that, that incident he had earlier is just playing on his mind a little bit. He's not quite sure where the grip levels are. And you did mention as well, we've seen a few mistakes from him, so maybe the car just not set up that well for these conditions. Absolutely,
you can see he's really struggling through those high aero sections, through those high-speed corners that you'd expect a car to really take it with ease. Donkel is really struggling as he now heads through turn 12 and turn 13. I wonder, Jono, I can't tell. Is that rain getting heavier? It looks about the same as Donkel tries to move up the inside of 14, but not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'd say the rain looks pretty consistent at the moment. We're probably just in the intermediate weather, nothing more at the moment. And at the front there, Lukey is keeping Sam honest as well. He's managing that 10-second gap, managed to keep it at about that. So driving really well at the moment. But our championship leader, he's just obviously a long way to go, but he's just doing what he does, isn't he? From potentially being close to crashing out on lap 1 and falling down the field, he now finds himself with an 11-second lead nearly on that 12 of the race.
Carbon copy move then, was it? Made Showman running a little bit wide there, overcooking it into the last corners, but this time he's got a better exit, this time able to defend the inside line. You can see there Donkel trying to take a wider line and try and cut back there. CSS was the cause of a yellow flag in sector 3. You can see he's lost a big chunk of that front wing on the left hand side. Didn't quite see what happened on the stream, and Donkel again having to take that action to stop the car from just being released from him. Those rear tyres do not want to stay on the track whatsoever, and Donkel's having to struggle with what seems to be a dry setup in these wet conditions.
Yeah, he's just hasn't got traction, has he? He's just very tentative on the throttle, and even so, it's biting him. And Made Showman driving well, defending into turn 8 there, and off-camber corner slightly.
Bit of contact!
Ooh.
Bit of contact there. Donkel has to back out the move straight away. We saw there the Williams go a little bit sideways, and what that battle is doing is it's allowing Matt FNG to close in. Now, he's had a bit of a quiet time of it lately, been struggling with that pace, but I'll tell you what, P4 might do him the world of good. It will do the world of Ferrari good as well to just keep extending their championship lead. They just seem uncatchable at this point, Jono.
Yeah, they do, and I think, you'll see it's the McLaren of Donkel ahead. I thought he was going to look for it there, Donkel. As he sees Matt coming, he'll be even more determined to get through. But yeah, Matt FNG as well, once he sees Donkel ahead, he'll be even more determined to make that pass, I think, to help his, their constructors' hopes and to help his teammates' driver champion hopes as well.
Absolutely. Donkel's trying to find a way around the outside. Bit of contact there, and Made Showman runs too deep there. He actually ran onto the grass, and Donkel wanted to go up the inside, which would have put him also onto the grass there. And Donkel up to P4 then, and Matt FNG is now up to P5. So Donkel running away now, just trying to flee from the Williams, who's got a higher aero setup, and that's a free position for the Ferrari.
Yeah, it is. And was there contact there that pushed Made Showman off circuit, or did he just run off on his own accord?
I think I need a second look at it to be fully sure.
Yeah.
But at the moment then, Donkel is up to P4 then, as Matt cruises around into P5, and you can see there Made Showman starting to drop back a little bit. He's gaining on the straight though, so not entirely focused on downforce, that's for sure. But you can see now as we head towards Les Combes, Matt FNG wants to close in on Donkel. That battle was really helping him to catch and close up on the gap here, but you can see maybe that battle he wanted to go on a little bit longer because he seems to be dropping back just a little bit every single corner.
Yeah, he does. It just shows you how hard it is to overtake in these wet conditions as well. It just makes it that much harder than in the dry. Just getting a big advantage on traction over your rivals is very, very difficult. And it's just, you just know the disaster's so close as well, so you just cannot risk it like you can in the dry condition.
Absolutely. Lap 13 of 22 of the Belgian Grand Prix. It's flown by so far, Jono. We've had about 14 different weather cycles at this point in time, and I'm absolutely loving it. I can't wait to see what the second half of the race has in store for us. At the moment then, on lap 14, Samster leads the way. 13.6 back is Lukey. Lawrence there is in third place with Donkel in fourth. Matt F&G fifth. Made Showman in sixth place. White Fountain is in seventh. There he is coming through your picture. Jaw there is in eighth place. Pepsi Gamer in ninth. Cloudy Balloons in 10th. Scorpion in 11th. CSS in 12th. And Praga not running anymore, going as an AI around the track. Retiring some laps ago. We've also had Reflow retire from the menu, having put on the wrong set of tyres. Farth also retiring from the session. TK and Marley following suit earlier on in the race. It's been a good race so far, Jono. It's a little bit of a lull right now as the drivers sort of have their own races. I'm sure we'll see some of those battles come back again towards the end of the race, especially maybe coming up ready on. There might just be a little bit of a step out from the back end there of a certain car. We might have a battle all over again.
Yeah, it does always tend to spread things out a little bit, especially when you've got that big toss-up of which tyre you run and people pitting on different maps. It does tend to spread the field out a little bit, but I expect to see some of these gaps close up as people settle into their pace and manage to make some headway. But I think just keeping it on circuit is the #1 priority for the drivers at the moment as well. And I just see Reflow DNF there, and due to retire there because of that error. It's just such a shame for him, and I can just imagine his frustrations because we know he thought this championship was his for the taking at one point, and we know how good he is normally and consistent he is in these wet conditions as well. So to throw it away because of probably a slip of the finger there with picking the wrong tyre choices, just gutting for him.
Absolutely. May Showman just seems to be in that zone of catching Matt F&G, then losing him, then catching him, then losing him. Donkel picking up another 3-second time penalty. He's under a lot of pressure to just go as quickly as possible, but at the same time that's costing him precious time. And in fact, if he gets too many warnings, Donkel could actually risk disqualification. He's already had a 5-second stop-go penalty as well.
Yeah, he has, and it's just been... We're just used to seeing Donkel just be brilliant in the races, aren't we? Usually put it on pole position and then just have amazing speed in the race, but this hasn't worked for him here at all, has it? Really, he's just made errors and just not looked comfortable at all in the wet.
And I think that's to do with the running that dry setup in the wet there, looking for that track position rather than looking towards the end of the race. We've got yellow flags in sector 2 here, and that's CSS, and he's around at turn 13. Is there any damage to that car? I don't think there is. Just looked like a spin there from CSS, but he's back on his way again. Currently running in P12 as Samster then. You can see even he isn't quite comfortable in these conditions, but he's still got a 16-second lead over Lukey. And what a drive from Lukey right now so far. P2 so far. Starting on those soft tyres at the beginning of the race and starting outside the top 10. Now finds himself running on those intermediate tyres. They are intermediates. You may see them as white wall mediums, but they're definitely intermediates, otherwise he wouldn't be keeping it on the track. But there you go then.
Yeah, I'd certainly be impressed by his talent if he was on the mediums in these conditions and driving like he is.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd give him the driver of the day outright. Right here, right now.
Yeah, definitely move over Lewis Hamilton if you can drive in the wet on tyres.
Made Showman there, just having a little bit of a moment there. Coming out of the exit of turn 11. Had to run a little bit wide and it's cost him at least a second there. He's now 2.2 down on Matt F&G. A little bit spaced out right now, Jono, but I can assure you that this race is far from over, especially looking at that rain, see if it's going to clear up or, worse, get heavier for the drivers.
Yeah, it does look... I think it's perhaps slightly heavier. I can, the pretty big raindrops falling and the track looks very slick now. But it's great to see Lukey, obviously a long way to go, but great to see Lukey in P2, and it's proof of what we always say, that these conditions, they can just open up the opportunities for drivers that you perhaps wouldn't normally see in the podium positions. Lukey's always there or thereabouts in sort of 5th, 6th, 7th, but he's exploited these conditions, hasn't he, with a good strategy call to start on the softs and then getting the switch over right to the inters, and you can reap the rewards.
Made Showman is in, by the way. into the pits and onto another set of intermediate tyres. So he wasn't confident at making those tyres last to the end of the race. He did 6 laps on them, then had to come in and change those tyres. So maybe the drivers are sort of looking at the radar. They're asking Jeff what the weather's going to be like as Samster runs wide on the exit of turn 11 there. It seems to be a common theme as the drivers are pushing as hard as they possibly can. I think, Jono, this rain's getting heavier because the drivers are struggling for grip more and more out there.
Yeah, they are, and perhaps that's why Mays should have pitted. Perhaps, you know, often it's hard to judge whether it's the rain falling more or whether it's the tyres dropping off slightly. So he's decided to basically split it in half, hasn't he? He's done 6 laps on them, and he's going to do another 6 laps or so on the second set now. So he's decided to split the strategy, you know, and see how that goes for him. So we'll see what the others decide to do.
Samster then making his way towards the old bus stop chicane. And let's see how he takes this. Still using all the curbs as confidently as he likes. And now making his way on the exit then towards that start-finish line. Then to start lap 17 of the race there. Jono, it's been, well, I wouldn't say pretty comfortable for Samster, but all the drivers around him, it's made it look comfortable.
Yeah, it's definitely comfortable right now, isn't it? I guess the only thing that can stop him here is making a mistake or perhaps a switch to full wet weather tyres at some point and he gets it a bit wrong. Otherwise, he has got it under control. We know he's great at controlling races as well when he's out front. And, you know, the main thing at the moment for him is to keep the concentration because it's very, very easy when you're just cruising around, sort of just pacing yourself against yourself to make a mistake and just lose it for one moment and your race can be over. So I'm sure he'll be trying to keep himself focused and keep an eye on that gap and just knocking the laps off. It's obviously a long lap here at Spa. He'll be looking at that lap counter and looking for that lap 22 to come round.
Now I wonder, with Made Showman, he's trying to close on Jaw then. Obviously these intermediate tyres do take a lap to warm up. So he's now 1.3 seconds back as he heads towards La Source then. Interesting to see whether it is the conditions here or whether it's the tyre itself might be coming. It might be coming too wet out there for all these intermediate tyres. The gap's stabilised at 1.3 seconds. We're going to follow Jaw up the hill then through Radion and across the Kemmel Straight. And actually Mage is closing on him bit by bit. And if DRS were enabled, he'd be well in that zone. But of course, it is disabled in these wet conditions. Mage is closing on Jaw fast here. And I wonder if it's actually tyre wear rather than the tyre compound itself.
Yeah, and on board the Mage, you can just see how wet it is. The spray coming off Jaw in front, and the rain is really, really heavy now, isn't it? Yeah, he's got definitely in the slow speed corners. Jaw managing to sort of hold Mage off okay, but in the high speed corners, Mage Showman able to take a lot of time out of him.
Absolutely. As we head towards Puon then. See how they take it then. Mage being brave and taking that curb. Ooh. And that curb spits him wide, losing that back end, and it'll cost him time. I was always taught in karting, Jono, if it rains, the curbs are your worst enemy.
Yeah, avoid the white lines and avoid the curves, I think, but it is very, very tempting to try and use them because in any bit of that time, obviously these guys can try and eke out, they'll go for it. But yeah, as a rule, if you're in any doubt, avoid the curves.
Well, Mage Showman is trying to reel in the Haas of Jaw. We've already lost the Haas of TK then, as he went off big time just before, I believe that was Blanchimont, if my memory serves me well, which I'm hoping it does. As Mage Showman now making his way towards the old bus stop chicane. Is anyone going to blink? Is anyone going to try and come in for those wet tyres? Is it wet enough? I'm not seeing much standing water out there, Jono, so at the moment it looks okay.
Yeah, it's it's very, very heavy coming down, but as you say, it's not sitting on the track, is it? So until the guys see standing water and we see the lap times really fall off, I think they'll try and continue. And when they're on lap 18 of 22, it's very tempting, even if the conditions do begin to switch over, to just try and hold out on the intermediate tyre till the end.
Mage Showman's got a great run on Jaw here as we make our way down the Kemmel Straight. And is that Doncool in trouble? We'll have a look and see. Mage Showman gets the move done as we make our way through towards Lake Com there. And I think, yes, Doncool's been in trouble again. He's hit the wall. That's part of his front wing is off.
Right side.
Yeah, it's been a huge disappointment for Doncool. He'll have to come back to the pits again. And that's not the first time he's lost his front wing today. This has been a different side to Doncool that we've seen today, Jono. Not like him at all.
Yeah, he's just fumbled a little bit, hasn't he? And made, well, several errors now. And it's going to be a torturous drive back to the pits for him as well. And falling down the order, by the time he pits, he's going to be well down the field. And will he pit the wet tyres now for the last few laps? Got nothing to lose. We'll see. If he picks the inters, we know nobody else is going to blink.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be asking Jeff, is there a point? Shall we put on the wet tyres? And probably setting it himself then. Samster is in the lead then, with I believe that's 4 laps to go, and it is 4 laps to go, or 3 and a bit if you're going to be really picky, as he makes his way through Les Combes here. Lukey is in P2, making his way up the hill now. Lawrence in P3, going through Le Source hairpin, with Matt FNG in 4th. White Fountain up to 5th now, and Donkel comes into the pits then. Oh, and he hit the wall. It got reset by the game. And, well, making his way through, that pretty much sums it all up, I think, for Donkel, as he makes his way into the pits now. Long way to his McLaren garage. And what tyres are going to be put on for Donkel? It's a long pit lane, not as long as Silverstone, mind. In he comes then. What tyres go on? Looks like it's those green walls. Yeah, looks like it's going to be intermediate tyres on for Donkel. We've also got someone else in the pits. That's the ghost car of Praga. But there you go, Donkel leaves the pit lane and he's actually outside of the points, Jono. Not great for him at all.
Wow, yeah, not good at all, is it? And we've been saying week after week now that he's just eating into Sam's lead at the top of the championship. But yeah, if he doesn't even score here today and Sam can take the 25, well, he'll be coming out of this a very happy man indeed with Sam.
Absolutely. Still got to get to the checkered flag, though, has Samster. A lot can go wrong in 3 laps. I know that from experience. As we head in towards the old bus stop chicane then, Samster is going to cross the line, start the 20th lap. We have 3 laps to go here at the Belgian Grand Prix. And there's got to be a cut-off point, Jono, where you just got to say, well, if it does rain severely and it's time for the wet tyres, we won't pit.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see anyone pit now, even if it did become wet enough. I mean, Donkel there had the ultimate opportunity, didn't he? Still didn't think it was wet enough for the wet tyre, so I think, yeah, these guys are going to be on the inters now until the end.
Well, he's got Scorpion in his sights then, 6.2 up the road, and the question is he going to catch him as he makes his way through Pouillon there? It's 5.9, he is catching him, but it's not at a rate that's quick enough. As Samson makes his way through Les Combes for the 20th time, tiptoeing his way through turn 6 and then through turn 7, of course. Those tyres are going to be worn. We saw there Made Showman wasn't confident enough to take those tyres to the end. As you said, Jono, he split that strategy into 2 6-lap stints. And he currently finds himself in 6th place, 15.4 away from White Fountain. And well, it's been a good result for him if he finishes there. And Samster making his way through Pouillon now. And yeah, I think he's just tiptoeing around now. He's 19.5 seconds ahead of Lukey. There's no reason for him to be pushing, and I think he knows that. Yeah,
at this stage now as well, you'll know, pit stops aren't going to come into play again. So yeah, 19-second lead. You'd just be, just be cruising around, like you say. There's no point to pushing limits at all at this stage. And White Fountain, you mentioned as well, he's in P5, which seems to be his favourite position, I think, in this league overall. He seems to be often finishing in that 5th position.
Well, he's managing to run just a little bit wide. Coming out of the exit of No Name as he makes his way down towards Pouillon here. Might be a late charge from him to see if he can catch Matt FNG, making his way through turn 11 and then towards turn 12 and turn 13 of Campus there. Watch out for Pepsi Gamer as well, 1.7 behind Jaw. That's going to be a battle for 7th place. Can Pepsi Gamer try and close that gap to the Haas then and try and score at least some points from McLaren today? He might be the sole point scorer for McLaren, and that's not often we say that then. As Pepsi Gamer glides his way through Pouillon there, and almost that back end snapped on him there. So, Pepsi Gamer able to keep it under control.
Yeah, the back of his car looking very lively, snapping around all over the place. So Pepsi Gamer obviously still pushing hard.
Absolutely, making his way through Stavlo now. And then towards the back end of the lap. Well, Samster here has started the penultimate lap. Lap 21 as he makes his way down towards Brussels. And again, a patient corner. You have to wait and wait all the way down to 2nd gear as he makes his way now towards No Name. using that curb on the outside there. We've got yellow flags in Sector 3. And just going to scroll through quickly, see if it's anybody. I don't think... No, didn't quite see anyone, but Cloudy Balloons has got himself 3 seconds. Cloudy Balloons is off. Oh, he's off just at the pit lane entrance, and he's actually retired from the session. So that's actually going to put Donkel up into the points then. So I think he can count himself a little bit lucky there. CSS currently running in 12th. He'll be boosted up to P11, just outside of the points then. Well, here we go then. Samsted coming around the final couple of corners. And he will start. That's very close to that wall there, that tyre wall. He's got to be careful about that one. As we see... Oh, that's a red ball. That's the red ball of Cloudy Balloons there. That's the AI control, yeah. And CSS run into the back of him.
Yeah, and that's because Cloudy chose to retire from the session, I think, whilst out on circuit. And that is a real shame for CSS there, running into the back of him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a bit of front wing gone on the left-hand side. You can see that there. And White Fountain then in 5th place, start trying to close in on Matt F and G, but Samster has started the final lap of the race then as he makes his way down the hill for the last time, having to negotiate Eau Rouge and Radion in these tricky conditions. Let's see how he does it. Yeah, playing it absolutely safe there. No risk for him whatsoever as he makes his way down the Kemmel Straight. Watching that rear wing then. And these conditions have pretty much stayed exactly the same ever since it started raining for the 2nd time, Jono. Such a crazy race, such crazy weather conditions, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, we've been wanting, well, I've been wanting to see a wet race for so long to see how these drivers cope with it, and it looks like Sam, our championship leader, has coped with it better than anybody as he's on this final lap now with a 22-second lead.
As he makes his way through No Name now and coming towards Puon. He's just got about another 3.5 kilometres to go, and he'll be claiming yet another race win here in the Pinnacle tier. And he'll be extending that gap at the top, remember, by 25 points if he can make it to the line. And that will extend his lead of the championship to more than 3 wins, Jono. It looks like he's in control, and with Italy next time around... will he get a race win in front of the Tifosi? We'll have to wait and see. Right now he looks in control of the Belgian Grand Prix as we see Donkel there getting past Pepsi Gamer. I think there was a bit of team orders there so that the McLaren of Donkel can at least get some points on his nearest rival. So it's actually going to cut down to 23 points gained for Samster. So it's better than nothing. But here comes Samster then towards the old bus stop chicane then for the final time. Negotiating this chicane one last time as he makes his way towards the checkered flag. You can see him weaving left and right. Samster is going to win the Belgian Grand Prix. It's a fantastic win for him. A tough race as well, but he rose to the occasion and takes the win. Fantastic for him then, as we've got Matt FNG, White Fountain as well, having a battle here. We're going to look at Lukey then as he makes his way towards the line. 22 seconds down, but that is nothing. He'll take that podium. The Renault will finish in 2nd place, and that is a great result from Lukey then, as Lawrence runs onto the grass then. We've got a bit of a battle here for 3rd place, coming towards the line. Lawrence here, having to defend hard here. Coming out of the final corner, can Matt get a late podium? He's got to try and get the traction down here as they head towards the line. Can he grab that podium? No, he can't. In fact, White Fountain's jumped them both on penalties. So White Fountain takes that last podium spot. Huge surprise here. As Main Showman now makes his way around the final couple of corners. He'll go towards the line then, and that is Main Showman picking up 6th place there. And Jaw will come home in 7th place. Donkel's made more positions then as he's passed Scorpion. So Jaw then coming across the line. He'll take 7th place. Donkel making his way around the final corner. It's going to finish 8th and 9th for Scorpion there. But Donkel might drop down. He does indeed drop down to 9th place. And CSS here has actually come up to the points. I wonder what happened to Pepsi Gamer. I think he's lost a big chunk of front wing, and he has. What happened to the McLaren there then? So CSS... he did have that front wing damage at the very start, but he's managed to come home and he'll take a point. And for the 2nd time, I believe, this season, he'll come home in a point-scoring position, so he'll be happy with that then. And Pepsi Gamer having to limp all the way home. That's a significant amount of front wing damage to that right-hand side, but he'll make his way towards the end of the race. And he's actually got... has he got a puncture? Yes, he has. Rear left puncture. So he must have hit the wall pretty hard then, as he decides not to take the final chicane to make his way towards the line. But your winner of the Belgian Grand Prix and ever extends his lead at the top, it's Samster for Ferrari.
Fantastic drive again from Samster, and is that now an unassailable championship lead? You have to say it is looking that way. Another fantastic drive, and I have to say fantastic to see Lukey there as well on the podium. He's raced at One Hub Racing for many, many seasons, and we've seen him in those epic midfield battles all season. So absolutely brilliant to see him on the podium, and thoroughly deserved. And White Fountain, Mr. Consistent as well. Once again, he just seems to make his way forward in the race, and this time it's down to him on the podium.
And what's important is that he gains 15 points on Reflow, who's currently in third place in that championship. But we'll have the official, unofficial results for you as soon as they come up on the board. And there they are. Samster takes the race win then. Lukey in second, White Fountain in third, Lawrence in fourth, Matt in fifth, Maid Showman sixth, Jaw in seventh, Scorpion in eighth, Donkall having a nightmare of a race, finishing down in P9, CSS in 10th, Pepsi Gamer in 11th. Praga did not finish the race, neither did Cloudy Balloons, Reflow, Farth, TK, Marley. And that brings an end to a very fascinating Belgian Grand Prix. From wet to dry to wet, Jono. What a race.
Yeah, what a race. Especially that first half of the race was absolutely crazy, wasn't it? So many strategy calls going on, wet to dry to wet as well. There was just everything in there, and loads of battling. Second half of the race, obviously, it came into play of just people settling into their race pace and trying to make of it what they can. We saw Donkall falling up and down the order and struggling, it seemed, to be consistent, but he managed to get a couple of points in the end. But it's still a big dent to his championship hopes, and for Reflows as well, who didn't even finish the race. But all in all, good race, and brilliant drives from the podium three.
Absolutely, and that is going to play havoc with the championship, because Sam is going to ever increase his lead at the top, and with Donkall finishing in 9th, it means he gains 23 points on him. So if I can work that out pretty quickly, the gap now stands at 77 points between the two of them. So over 3 race wins, and we have 8 races to go. Jono, Samster's just got to wrap this up now, surely.
Yeah, I think surely even he will admit now that he's thinking about that championship. It's a big number now. He can afford to not win races, can't he? As long as he's getting points regularly. Donkall's got to win every single race to have even a slight chance. So yeah, Sam is just doing what he needs to do. Won another race. He got the decisions right in the end, didn't he? And looking very, very strong as we move on from Spa here.
And White Fountain picking up a podium there, obviously gaining 15 points on Reflow there. That gap has come down to 25 points. White Fountain here looking for a late charge to finish in the top 3. But, Jono, next week it's the Italian Grand Prix, and can Samster win in front of the Tifosi? Can Ferrari get a fantastic result, or will Donkall, Reflow, White Fountain, can they spoil the day? I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, cannot wait, and looking forward to seeing if Reflow can bounce back. I mean, early season, he seemed like the man to beat, didn't he, Reflow? He was very, very confident. He had great pace, but he missed those couple of races, and he's come back and just hasn't looked the same, has he? I mean, he was looking good there for a while, but it all went wrong again. So the Mercedes man has got to come back and win next week, surely.
Absolutely. Well, that's it from us then. Go and watch the guys on the Prestige tier. They should be coming towards the end of qualifying. But Jono, Italian Grand Prix, I'm looking forward to it. And then I can say the unmentionable thing I said at the start of the stream. And then we can fall out over it. How about that? Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, sounds like a good plan to me.
Well, don't forget to join us next week then from 8 p.m. for the Italian Grand Prix, and we'll have them wait and see if the Ferraris can perform in front of their home crowd. Until next week, though, I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been John Worth.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.